So not only do we get the X-Men team that was appointed and pretty much got murdered in 2 seconds once they were appointed, but we also get Orvis Solaris. Now, I'm sure he's been in some X-Men books and I do not read them all. I do not have the time, unfortunately. But me personally, I haven't seen him since Sons of Sinister when he was killing himself. Now, this might be the story that Charles was talking about in Immortal X-Men number 18 about how he attempted to become a Dominion using the Crown Crystal. Now, I thought they was going to do that in like the Rise of Power of X, but they might be doing it here. I don't know. I guess we'll find out here soon. My name is Dorian, this is SCN Comics. We are continuing our coverage of the Fall of House of X with Dead X-Men number 1. So our story starts off at the treehouse in New York that has been split in half. And then a lightning strike comes down and we see Frenzy and she does like a 4-point landing and she's like, it smells like fire and brimstone. That's not good. And then we see our Dead X-Men crew. We have Frenzy, who I just mentioned. We have Prodigy, Jubilee, Dazzler, and Cannonball. Now, Juggernaut was on there, but he didn't die because he's durable. And he has a Crimson Gem of Cederac. That helps. That helps a lot. Now, are they on a mission? Yes, you'll find out by who in a minute. And are they bouncing around from reality to reality? Yes. The treehouse doesn't look like that in the 616 reality. Now, it might once this war's over with, but right now, it doesn't. So Prodigy's like, there's something wrong. I'm not picking up anybody, let alone Moira. So right there, it shows you they're looking for Moira and McTaggart. So the Cannonball's like, it doesn't take somebody with your power, Prodigy, to know that this place has seen better days. And then Jubilee's like, at least we're not screaming, trying to hold our skulls together, talking about when Nimrod took them out the Hellfire Gala. And then Frenzy's like, quiet, something's coming. And then we see like demon bats from the demon dimension. So you know who's here, right? That's right, it's Magic. And she has taken over the whole planet. She's like, who dare trespass in my realm? Prodigy's like, hey, I read her mind. She remembers killing Myra and everybody else, so it's time to go. So the Jubilee's like, this timeline's toast. And then Dazzler's like, pull us out now. So then we switch to the Atlantic side of Krakoa that is still in the white hot room because Mother Righteous never moved it back, especially after, she failed to become a Dominion and Destiny decided to kick her in the face. So then they land hard and then Sam goes, oh, now I know I'm a good Southern boy, but you can't be showing up as a burning bush. It just ain't right, Rach. And we see it's Scotty. That's Rachel Summers. Like, I know what she wants to call herself as Scotty. That's Rachel Summers. That is the other kid of Scott and Jean Grey. Actually, that's the only kid of Scott and Jean Grey because Cable is the kid of Scott and Madeline Pryor. She goes, I work what's handy, Sam, and flames are part of the psychic package because besides Jean, nobody has a close relationship to the Phoenix and Rachel. And then it shows that she's in no place X, nowhere, no when. And one day they're going to explain how that works. But if you know how that works, please let me know in the comments. So it's pretty much letting them know that it takes a lot of her focus to be able to communicate at the speed that they can comprehend her. Clocks work a little bit differently where she's from, or where she's at right now. So pretty much what they're looking for is a Myra McTaggart that is not cybernetic, like ours in the 616 is. And then Rachel gets a little moody with them. And she goes, well, let's take a moment to catch our breath, but not much more than that. Because Xavier trusted me to assemble the right team for this mission, I had thousands to choose from, and I chose you guys. So in The Rise of Power of X number 1, which is a really good book, I enjoyed the hell out of making that video. And if you didn't watch it, card's right there, link will be in the description. So pretty much Professor Xavier is ready to go back in time and kill Myra before her powers ever manifest, which means that Krakoa will never have happened. But not just that, because Myra is very important when it comes to the X-Men history, so all that's going to change too. So that's why it's so important to find a Myra that doesn't have cybernetics, because a Myra cybernetics can manipulate the information. One that doesn't have cybernetics can't, and they'll know the exact date and time that her powers manifested so they can go before that. So now that that little bit is over with, Sam assures Rachel that no, she picked the right team and they're going to be able to get it done. And Rachel pretty much says good, because the Myra engine doesn't have that many more pass waves left, and the next jump that they do, if they don't find what they're looking for, they're probably going to be shit out of luck. So now we jump to terminal location Myra engine 2.4, which you can see the world is cracked in half and floating into space. And when they land, the atmosphere is pretty much gone, so they can't breathe. But then somebody teleports them out of there. But then you got somebody in the background who's watching the whole thing like, what is this? So Jubilee don't care where they got teleported to. All she's saying is, oh, sweet oxygen. And all you hear is, yes, courtesy of the X-Men. And this is a crazy roll call. You got Blink. I haven't seen her in a long time. You got Random. I haven't seen him probably since the 90s. That's the last time I've seen him in anything. I think it was like X Factor, if I'm not mistaken. You guys probably seen him before or after that, but I personally haven't. You got Armor. You got Red Root or Red Fire. It's actually Root Fire. That's why I should be doing the videos, because I know more. Go DC. This is what Sunfire and Red Root are probably going to combine into, which they look really cool. And then you got Abigail Brand's crazy ass. And if you're wondering why I'm calling Miss Brand crazy as hell, you won't have to wait long, because our Abigail Brand of the 616 and this one of this reality, they're about to say. And this is why Jubilee is saying, Abigail Brand leading the X-Men? Oh, this is not a good future. And trust me, she ain't never lied. So Abigail is wondering why they, who look like some of their dead comrades from the past, are here alive and well. And she's like, you better start talking fast, otherwise we're gonna throw you in a cold expanse of space. As we turn to the next page, we see the craziness just keeps on coming. We see that all that's left of Araco is an island that's flying in the sky that looks like a whale. And that's their spaceship. So now Prodigy's mutant power is he gathers information from other people, pretty much reads their mind, their entire minds, gets all the information. Like a computer hacker, but of people. But for him to do this, it hurts really bad. So Abigail wants to know what the hell's going on. They're explaining to her what the hell is going on. And then she's like, all right, so then he knows everything. And he goes, more or less, and I know what happened to Earth. So 616, Abigail Brand was trying to start like an intergalactic war. In this reality, she succeeded, but Orbis Solaris was the one pulling the strings. Hell, in our reality, Orbis Solaris might have been the one trying to pull the strings. So Orbis Solaris, using a wormhole strike, pretty much took out Krakoa, Orcus, most of the Avengers, and like 92% of life on Earth with its first attack. He also took out Araco at the same time, just in case they wanted to get some kind of revenge. And at the end it says, with a handful of surviving mutants scattered throughout the galaxy, with Abigail Brand humbled to find herself leading the team she accidentally manipulated to his downfall. So then Abigail's like, that about sums it all up, except for the humble part. And that's what I mean. She's crazy. So the Armor starts freaking out. She's like, have you come here to fix this, David? Because she knows how bad it's been. So the Frenzy chimes in. She goes, oh, time out. You know how paradoxes work. We're not even supposed to be sharing this with you. And right now, our clock is ticking down really fast, so we need to make it back down to Earth. So the Random's like, yeah, you guys were having a real swell time before we went down there and saved your asses. So the Blink's like, look, there's nobody on Earth except for scavengers. And besides, we're in the middle of a supply run. You lucky we picked up your life force ratings when we did. So then there's this big explosion. Jubilee's like, what's that? And then Root Fire, I got it right. Root Fire goes, is the exact attention we were trying to avoid. Now, Orbis Solaris took out Nimrod and the other AIs, but there's other AIs that are in the galaxy, like the Technarchy or the Phalanx. So then Dazzler is not a fan, and she's like, well, what the hell do they want besides assimilation? And then Abigail Brand lets her know we have the last Mysterium stash in the galaxy. So on the next page, we got Orbis Solaris, and I thought he was talking to himself until I looked a little harder. He goes, I blame the war farm, of course. My ascension would have taken place over a decade, hence if it wasn't for that rare misstep. Perhaps I should be more forgiving of myself though, Gabriel. Directing interstellar conflict takes time. And yes, he said Gabriel, for Gabriel Summers. That dead body you see in there, that is Gabriel Summers or Vulcan. This dude can't catch a break. First, in our reality, Tarm beat him to death. And now in this reality, Orbis Solaris, I'm assuming, beat him to death. But he's like, that's okay. Because once I get the last of this Mysterium, time will be something that I'll have an ample supply. And then he starts joking to himself. Well, I guess he's joking to Gabriel Summers, but he's joking to himself. He goes, getting this bit of Mysterium is deeming to be harder than when I got a fragment of the Enigma crystal, and that is the very nexus of reality itself. And on the next page, you got this reality's X-Men fighting the Phalanx, and Abigail Brand's like, die on your feet, X-Men, and take as many of them as you can with you. So Prodigy starts freaking out, and Jubilee's like, you have another brain freeze? And he goes, no, it's her, Jubilee. It's Myra, and she's here, and she's close, and she's still human. So then Dazzler's like, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. This is our opportunity. And then Cannonball's like, I don't like these folks' chances unless we help them. So the Frenzy's like, look, we all knew the deal when we signed up for this mission. We need to trust Prodigy because according to him, we can still fix everything, and we need to just let Abigail and her X-Men handle themselves. But Cannonball, Jubilee, and Dazzler look like they're not listening, and they're heading into the fight to help Abigail when all of a sudden the spaceship comes out of nowhere, and all you hear is, come on, Abby, you started the fight without us? And then we see is Roberto Costa, or Sunspot, with the little gray on the side looking like he's like a Brazilian Reed Richards. And he goes, oh, well, you know the Starjammers, we like to be fast to be late, but you mind we bring in the big guns? So now it's time to do another roll call. You got Juggernaut, who somehow, some way in the future looks younger. You got Lockhead, you got Mercury, you got Hepzibah. That's the best I could do. You got Warbird, who is Captain Marvel, and you got Smasher. So now that this reality X-Men now have help, our dead X-Men decide that they're going to listen to Frenzy and Prodigy and start looking for Myra. So then Prodigy starts to freak out again, and he's like, she's coming near us, and I've never absorbed a mind like hers before. So then Captain Marvel, Warbird, finds Orbis Solaris and goes crashing into a ship. So then Orbis Solaris goes, you cretin, this is a hermetically sealed chamber. And as I was reading this, I'm thinking to myself, you need to be more worried about them fists that are about to start coming your way. So then Warbird's like, no, I'm just the opening act. There's a kid out there who you killed his mom on Earth and you killed his dad in space, and he happened to inherit both of their powers, and he called dibs on you. And then Smasher comes in and does exactly that, smashes the Mysterium. So our dead X-Men are fighting the Phalanx because they're trying to find Myra when all this debris starts coming from Orbis Solaris' ship, and a piece of Mysterium hits Prodigy right in his chest. So then Frenzy comes over and she's like, how deep did it penetrate? Is your breathing compromised? And Prodigy's like, I don't know. It doesn't even hurt like it should. Is that bad? So then all of a sudden this mysterious cloaked figure comes running and goes, figure I'd find it in the middle of some mutant. Some things never change. And then Cannonball comes out of nowhere and goes, oh no you don't. No hitting my teammates when they're down, and he does his cannonball thing, and then the mysterious cloaked figure goes flying. And then we see it's Myra McTaggart, or as the book says, what's left of her, because she's missing an arm, she's missing a leg, and we all know that was Myra. So then Prodigy starts doing his thing, and he goes, oh, there is so much. There's so much more than what I expected. And Myra goes, what are ye? So then Prodigy goes, I got it. A full map of Myra's past, all of it. And not just her 10th life. We can go anywhere, any when. We can stop the Dominion before it's born. So then Cannonball's like, all right, we got what we came for. Let's get the hell out of here. So then they leave, and Myra gets up and sees a piece of Mysterium on the ground. So she walks over to her and goes, oh, that'll do nicely. So then Abigail's like, hey, get away from that, and starts shooting at her. And then Myra hits her with something, and Abigail falls back. And then Abigail's like, wait, how are you still alive? She goes, I had to stay alive to build this. Adamantium, carbonadium, vibranium coating. And that Zorn fella, I got a piece of his black hole brain. The only time you hear about Zorn is in these dystopian futures, and they're always doing something crazy to him. And then she's like, and now the final piece, a wee shard of Mysterium, the missing ingredient. And now I could cut a path straight back to my first life, and to make sure that Myra always wins.